On your dollar bill, you have the Illuminati symbol of the pyramid. The Illuminati was founded, as I said a little earlier, by Adam Weishaupt. But when he passed on, the mantle moved to Giuseppe Mazzini, and finally moved to the man on the right, Albert Pike. Every single human being in America should know the name Albert Pike, and very few do. We're talking, you think that the George Bushes and the Clintons and the Roosevelts, and you don't know about Albert Pike? These are the hidden ones that shape the world events, but we almost know nothing about them. Albert Pike is a seminal figure in the creation of the Ku Klux Klan, by the way. George Washington said that I have heard much of the nefarious and dangerous plan of the Illuminati. Now, your neighbor won't believe you, he'll call you a crank, but the fact is that even George Washington was all knowing about it. It was not my intention, he says, to doubt that the doctrines of the Illuminati and the principles of Jacobinism had not spread in the United States. On the contrary, no one is more truly satisfied of this fact than I am. Joseph Willard, the president of Harvard University, spoken at the time of his retirement, he says, there is sufficient evidence that a number of societies of the Illuminati have established in this land. They are doubtless striving to secretly undermine all our ancient institutions, civil and sacred. We live in an alarming period. The enemies of all order are seeking our ruin. Should infidelity generally prevail, our independence would fall, of course. Our republican government would be annihilated. Now, just like I was explaining about the Theosophy, the mystical organization that was infiltrated by this Lucifer trust, so Freemasonry, which once was a great archive of knowledge, a mystical doctrine, coming out of the ancient world, preserving many metaphysical secrets about the human body and about our relationship with the Creator, that was also infiltrated. Well, why not? If I was them, I'd probably want to do it. There it is, ready and waiting. All set up. So this group of the Illuminati were able to infiltrate that as well. We'll read that in a minute. But the thing is that it alarmed not only George Washington, but the head of World Freemasonry, Grand Orient Freemasonry at the time, was the Duke of Brunswick in the 1700s. And he actually stood up publicly and asked for the worldwide disbandment of Freemasonry because he understood that it was being infiltrated in this way. We're going to read a caption together from the Duke of Brunswick. And I want you to pay particular attention not only to what he's saying, but the way that he is saying it, because that is an incredible modern appeal. He says, I have been convinced that we, as an order, have come under the power of some very evil occult order, profoundly versed in science, both occult and otherwise, though not infallible, their methods being black magic. That is to say, electromagnetic power, hypnotism, and powerful suggestion. We are convinced that the order is being controlled by some sun order, after the nature of the Illuminati, if not by that order itself. John Robinson, a Scottish man who wrote the first book exposing them, his date is 1798, so just don't think this is a modern thing of the 20th century. John Robinson was approached by, very much in the same way as Anthony Sutton in this country was approached. John Robinson was approached by members of the Illuminati that they wanted intelligentsia. He was a university teacher, you see. He kind of looked into it, and as soon as he found out what was going on, he not only didn't join, he exposed it in an incredible book called Proofs of a Conspiracy. And he quotes Adam Weishaupt, who said that the great strength of our order lies in its concealment, that it never appear in any place in its own name, but always covered by another name and another occupation. None is fitter than the 3 lower degrees of Freemasonry. The public is accustomed to it, expects little from it, and therefore takes little notice of it. He goes on to say in another place, these good folk swell our numbers and fill our money box. Set yourselves to work. These gentlemen must be made to nibble at the bait. But this sort of people must always be made to believe that the grade they have reached is the last. Well, don't you have fraternities and grades from school upwards, where the same policy goes? I don't know if you know how much women played a role in the exposure to secret societies. You need to know about Madame Blavatsky, you need to know about Nesta Webster, and you need to know about Edith Starr Mill or Lady Queensborough. In her book, she says, at the turn of the century, she says, we must allow, quoting from Weishaupt, we must allow all the federations to continue just as they are, with their systems, their central authorities, and their diverse modes of correspondence between high grades of the same right, organized as they are at present, but we must create a super right, which will remain unknown, to which we will call those Masons of high degree, whom we shall select. Through this supreme right, we will govern all Freemasonry, which will become the one international center, the more powerful, because its direction will be unknown. So, yes, full circle. All of these individuals, and in my other work, it's just voluminous how much information we've got on this, that they are talking about a hierarchy. The symbols tell you alone. There it is, the two-dimensional, removed 14th level, with the eye, which I believe is the eye of Aton, the solar cult eye, officiating over the lower ranks. So just, no doubt about it, should there be. My work has been to expose exactly who those controllers are. And that journey took me into some mighty interesting avenues, I can tell you. To find out that, in fact, they are not necessarily human, but they are a coterie descended from, bloodline descended from, alien visitors from other planets. What? That's right. Alien visitors from other planets who visited our planet approximately between 30 and 50,000 years ago. And their interference in our destiny and the manipulation of history, we all need to really know about. We really have to understand this if we're going to make sense of our world. These individuals influenced our culture, our science. For instance, as Lawrence Gardner says, it took man over 1 million years to progress from using stones as he found them to the realization that they could be chipped and flaked to better purpose. It then took another 500,000 years before Neanderthal man mastered the concept of stone tools, and a further 50,000 years before crops were cultivated and metallurgy was discovered. Hence, he says, by all scales of evolutionary reckoning, we should still be as far removed from any basic understanding of mathematics, engineering, or science, but here we are, a mere 7,000 years later, landing probes on Mars. And he asked the all-important question, so how did we inherit this wisdom, and from whom? And then, just in case, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but just in case anybody's just straight in off the street and thinks that no alien visitors could ever visit this planet, they better read what Dr. Harrison H. Brown says from CIT. He estimates that virtually every star in our galaxy has a planetary system, in each of which 2 or 4 planets might have an Earth-like environment and chemistry that encourages our kind of life to exist. He gives the enormous figure of 100 billion stars with planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone, and get this, there are 450 billion of those galaxies. If that makes you feel small, good. But we don't have to look to scientists for that. My work is entirely based on the mythologies, of the ancient world, the legends. Oh yeah, they used to say it as old wives' tales, so nobody paid it any mind. But we don't have to look to science to wait to tell us what our forefathers were telling us all along. The scriptures, the apocryphal works, the Gnostic texts. Isaiah 13, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, to destroy the whole land. Isaiah 6, who are these that fly in a cloud as the doves to their windows? Well, who indeed?